Managing people, leading people without face-to-face supervision. Well, one is we're leading and managing according to workloads and outcomes. So that's the main thing is we have a trust factor. We have responsible people, so we're managing against workloads. It's important to have clarity of roles, accountabilities, and assignments should be well defined. We also recognize that people have different feelings and different ways in which they adapt to a remote working environment. For some people, it can be quite lonely. They may not have an adequate workspace at home, so it's being empathetic to what each person individually is going through and recognizing that and helping them through that. We have frequent touch points with the entire staff, and leaders have touch points with their staff. So I tend to have one personally every day with my leaders, and I was having one every day with the whole IT team, but we've cut that down to 3 days a week. And that's really just to preserve connectedness, to make sure they're not long meetings, but just preserving that connectedness. Leveraging communication tools such as the intranet, the recognition system that we have in place, and just well-formed communication. So communication in general is a highlight of this. Engagement activities are a challenge. So when you're physically face-to-face, you can do all kinds of things ranging from bowling, potluck, all that kind of stuff. So we're trying to figure out ways to have engagement in different games and tactics. So that's something we're still exploring and trying to get better at. When it comes to wellness, so virtual wellness, we've had wellness activities where we've had yoga and those sorts of things when we were physically working at the office. How we've adapted to that is we've got someone who's actually doing virtual wellness programs through Instagram Live and Zoom. So they're holding yoga sessions and other types of physical activities. And then it's just important to have rules of engagement, how often you're going to meet, what's expected. Find that keeping meetings for whatever reason a lot shorter than 20 minutes is a lot better. For whatever reason, there just seems to be an abundance of meetings happening. And I think it's a little bit overwhelming for people. The key things are managing and leading for outcomes. 2, being empathetic to what people are going through. And 3 is really having a focus on the communication mechanisms and channels.
Yep. I've tried to keep it really simple. 6 key points that I pass down to my leadership team, which is really over-communicate to your teams, keep them engaged. I've mandated 15 to 30-minute daily video conferencing calls because the staff was so used to being managed directly. I found that they needed that continuation of visual communication with their leaders. Make expectations very clear to your teams and inquire regularly to make sure that they are comfortable and have a high degree of understanding as to what you're expecting. Have a clear set of rules for your people on working remotely, and be flexible, understanding that it's not just your people working at home alone, that they have extended families living with them, kids, barking dogs like Monique, and that you have to operate in this new paradigm. Resolve issues quickly over the phone or on video conferencing. Don't let things sit and wait or drag on. It just creates a level of uncertainty and confusion with the teams. Make sure that you're maintaining a high level of morale and a level of human interaction with your teams, not just work related. I mean, people need to be engaged personally as well as professionally. And then 6th is try to have some fun as well. So try to mix in some scavenger hunts, some different games, some things that you can do. I mean, because our people were always in the office, would engage personally at lunch or breaks or whatnot, and they now no longer have that level of interaction. Try to keep that consistent and make it enjoyable for the people, that getting up and going to work isn't just about going to work and dialing in, but something they want to do as well.
I think the onus is on needing to be a lot more deliberate when we're setting out goals and success measures and what success looks like. And sometimes we don't do that goal setting process, the diligence that's really required. And when you're managing to outcomes, you're managing because you've set specific goals and objectives and success criteria for what that looks like. I agree with consistent themes. I think communicating more than we have in the past is really important to have those continuous touch points. Having fun and focusing on well-being. We have rounded out our days and not just focusing on outcomes with things like virtual walking clubs or taking our meetings outside and having walking meetings if we can have walking meetings, if we don't need to look at any visuals. We've had fun. One of our cultural habits is to have the third Thursday of every month is Thirsty Thursday, and we get together and have some fun. And we've made those a weekly occurrence. They have been so popular that now at the end of the day, every week on Thursdays, we get together and we use WebEx as our corporate technology and get as many people who want to join together. But we've used those as learning opportunities. So as we're using our virtual collaboration technologies, we're having some fun with things like playing Pictionary or using Microsoft Whiteboard, so that we need to integrate the use of those collaboration tools in a fun way. And we always learn something along the way, but it kind of lets you guard down a bit and creates those learning opportunities. The last thing I'd say though is that what's top of mind to us in getting to those outcomes, and as we're coming into the mid-year evaluation point, is we've got some tricky circumstances that we need to work through, and we really do need to be empathetic and think about what we think success looks like when the situations that we're working in can be so vastly different in an individual circumstance. So while we're managing to outcomes, we're also being empathetic to pace and how we're going to manage that success when we don't have the same work environment that we've had in the past.
We had to turn around very, very quickly and provide and distribute relevant learning and customize learning experiences too as well. So we had to provide QRC, short webinars, lunch and learn, Teams, video online. Really, it was really about raising knowledge and helping managing some new processes, because they rely a lot. Most of our lawyers rely a lot on their assistants too as well. So suddenly they had to do a lot more from home than relying on their assistant. Those are things we had to address very, very quickly. We also had at the leadership level, we created a steering committee to manage all communication and the demands from all remote workers. So we have coffee and lunch meetings. So I think that in time like that, it's very, very important to stay in touch with the staff and make sure that we are in sync in terms of the goals, but the priorities that are changing on a regular basis, especially now.
I think it's two pieces to address here. One is the own IT side of things. Because we were actually doing quite a bit of virtual meetings for the last number of years, we went paperless within IT. So for us, transitioning from a physical office to home office, it was a natural transition. So we did not struggle on that one. We continue to leverage the tools. We've been using it for quite a number of years. Skype for Business, Microsoft Teams. Somehow, a lot of people fell in love with WebEx at outside IT too. So we quickly adopted to make sure WebEx environment was up and running for everyone out there. And today we are on Zoom, and it's been also popular with the teachers also, along with Google Hangouts, Google Meet. And I remember one team was meeting over Adobe Connect too. So you can see majority of the tools were out there already, and every team felt comfortable with a specific tool. We encouraged them to just keep using that one. But we did establish some norms that there will be regular check-ins. In the beginning, when we started this one, it was the daily check-ins. Slowly now it's gone to twice a week or thrice a week. And also, I normally had a quarterly virtual town halls, not actually physical town hall. Those are now turned into a monthly virtual town halls. So end of the day, everyone gets all the key information pieces in a timely fashion. Regular check-ins with staff has really helped. Getting the content, because a lot of our stuff was already online, so there wasn't any struggle to reaching out to the staff or getting access to the right documents in a timely fashion. No hurdles at all. But that's the IT side of things. We also have the teaching and learning side, because 250,000 kids come to Toronto District School Board. So we have around 16,000 teachers who actually work with these students on a daily basis. And in some cases, those teachers were ready to go because they've been doing virtual classroom, flipped classroom all the time. And there are quite a number of teachers who struggle with it because they never had a classroom online. They struggle with the tools we had in place for the last 8-9 years. They didn't bother learning those tools. So we have to quickly put PD together for them to make sure we can bring them up to speed very, very quickly. So that has really helped. Then we learned that some of the parents said, I would like to learn about the tools too, because I need to help my kids at home. So we actually had to put together PD for the parents also. And that just opened up new doors now. How can we reach out to our community and connect them with what's going on in the classroom side of things too? So I'm seeing a lot of new opportunities. And to me, the true digital transformation we've been pushing for years. Some of the departments who were saying no, 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 they're the first one knocking our door now. Can I have that? Could you enable that? I would like to see that happen. So I like that speed of ask now. And it's encouraging to see that they truly see the value, what technology brings to a public sector, K-12, a very paper-heavy, union-based organization. So some of those challenges are now being addressed through the technology lens itself.